Well, welcome everybody. This is Mr. V coming to you live from the classroom. Thanks for getting in and being a part of our classroom session here. We're going to be covering several things today, but we're going to be starting on our work order number 3, which is our drywall installation for our kitchen wall build. And so today is all about introducing you to what drywall is, the basic tools that we're going to be working with, and then tomorrow we'll be back out in the shop and I'll be doing the live installation, working with those tools and techniques, getting us all up to speed on getting our drywall installed. So let's jump right in. Okay, first of all, what the heck is drywall? We've been talking a little bit about this in class, but I wanted to cover in a little more detail so we can get our heads around what this crazy stuff is. So first of all, we got to be aware it's known by many different names, and here's some of them, right? So plasterboard, wallboard, sheetrock, gypsum board, buster board, custard board, or gypsum panels, okay? In my trades, 35 years, I've known it as drywall, sheetrock, or just rock. So just be aware. If you hear any of those terms, that is what we're talking about. It's this substance that we're looking at right here. So what is it? Well, it's a panel made of this calcium sulfite. The chemical composed, we basically call it a gypsum, with or without adhesives, and then it typically is extruded, meaning it's under pressure and it's put through machinery, and then added 2 thin sheets of facer or backer paper on both sides. So you can see there in that detailed picture, you've got the gypsum core, and then you've got that heavy paper that faces the front and the back. Super important, there is a front and back to drywall. We want the front facing to the finish side of the room. It's going to be a light gray color. The backer is more of a brown paper type color. So super important we install it the correct way, because that front paper is designed to handle our finishes, which would include our drywall compound and our paint and so forth. So that's what the stuff is. It's like chalk, like we talked about, right? So it is strong enough to hold what we need it to hold, but it is brittle, so that we've got to handle it with care when we're installing, measure cutting, and working with. So you'll see a little bit more about what that's happening once we go hands-on out in the shop. Next, here's what it looks like here. We're typically stacking it in that vertical position if we're loading into a job site. It is heavy, it is bulky, it's 4 feet tall, 8 feet wide, and it's standard. And so it is typically a 2-person operation to handle and move things around. But we'll talk a little bit more again about that once we get out in the shop. Fourth thing about drywall, it does use various adhesives that are part of that gypsum combination that is in the drywall so that it can reduce mildew, flammability, and makes it a little less water absorption. So those are 3 really good things when you're putting it on both your wall surfaces and your ceiling surfaces. Mildew, of course, is produced with moisture, water, or other types of moisture that builds up and causes mildew to grow. Bad for you, bad for the house. Flammability, not good. Man, we want to keep our home safe and away from fire. So our gypsum board drywall helps us with that. And then water absorption. It will absorb water, but it's not as absorption as other materials that we could use on the wall. So it's designed to help us out, and here's really where it comes from. In the mid-20th century, drywall construction became prevalent here in the North Americas, and as both a time and a labor savings, 2 very good things in the construction trade, as an alternative to the traditional lath and plaster. If you haven't ever heard that term before, lath and plaster, Google that one and you'll see a really extensive, heavy material, 3-4 step process, time consuming, labor intensive, lots of material. So when we were looking for an alternative, that's when drywall became part of who we are and what we do here in the North America. So you can see in that second picture, the white sections, the first 4 feet have been installed on the lower sections of those interior walls, and then working up to the ceiling section, you can see where it does not have drywall, but you can see where the recessed can lighting is in the ceiling. So this drywall is going to be the inside skin, if you will, of our homes, and super important to be able to learn how to install it properly, as well as repair it once it's been damaged after the install. So we're going to talk a lot about that. We're actually going to have an exercise that'll help us learn how to patch holes in drywall or other cracks and damages, because that literally is a life skill that you will use as long as you live in North America, where we've got drywall. So good stuff there. Here we go. So the basic tools for cutting, fitting, and installing. So this is, again, a craft that we need to learn. It's different than wood, plastics, concrete, any other type of material. But the good news is there's basically 5 tools that we use to cut, fit, and install our drywall. So let's go through these real quick. Should be no surprise, we have to measure accurately always, so our construction tape is number 1 on the list. We have to mark it properly, so we're using our construction pencil to do that. And then here's the cool news: to actually cut it, we are using a utility knife. So long cuts, short cuts, the majority of the time we're using a utility knife. We will be using other tools to make the especially cutouts for our J boxes, but I'll review that when we get there. But the great news is you can handle this material, you can measure, cut, and work with it with those 3 tools, and utility knife being the primary tool to cut. And number 4 there, if you've never used one of these bad boys, it is a large T-square. So it has a 4-foot straight edge that's going straight out from us there in the picture. And then closest to us at a 90-degree corner, it creates basically a way to create square or 90-degree corners when we're actually positioning that T-square on our drywall to make our knife cuts and scores. So that is a super critical tool to work with drywall. But last but not least, take a look at number 5 there. Again, you can see that's loaded into a driver tool, but what the heck is that particular tool, and why is it one of the basics for our cutting and installing drywall? Well, let's take a look. Okay, set it up in a challenge question, so here you go. Last question of the day. Number 3, what is this tool, and why is it so important for installing drywall like a pro, right? Lots of different tools you can possibly use to actually install, but this particular one, super simple, but it will, as you'll find out, allow you to install drywall like professionals and get great results. So here are some of our possible answers to this here question. And so you can review those on the question listed below here so that you can go ahead and submit your answer as part of today's lesson, and we'll be giving you credit for that as well. So please, once we're finished with this in-class session, jump on those questions, turn those in so that I can grade them through our online Google Classroom. But there are your ABC options. Read them, see if you can figure out, and tomorrow when we're out in the shop session, I will reveal to you how that cool tool works. I think that's about it for now. So thank you, Husky Building Company. That is your introduction to drywall, and we will be out in the shop in the next segment going hands-on and letting you know what's going on. All right, keep building things great, boys and girls. We'll talk to you soon.